Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a new drone, a 5-inch stop, and yes, it's analog.
Whoa, wait. What the hell did you say? Analog? I know, it's a very ambiguous topic, but everything had the right to exist. Let me explain what I actually mean. I've got a few drones here. This one runs DJI Vista. It's great, not too expensive, decent image quality, reliable, and even waterproof. This one is on O3, better video quality and stuff like that. Plus, I already had an O3 lying around. So this DJI O4, the same, it's FPV airframe, motors, and a full kit setup. I love this one. I can fly without an action camera because of DJI O4 obviously. And all of these drones can be bound to the DJI with 2 goggles. That's why I'm still using them. But what about analog? Of course, it's basically the same drone. The build process is the same, but with an analog with X. And yes, that means you need analog goggles, like this.
Okay, so that's a very first flight. I didn't even install real cam, it's a fake one for the sake of the weight, so here we go.
So, you can see from the DVR, the image quality could be better. It is hard to even compare it to digital system. Analog is like watching your grandpa's old TV. Crappy image quality, constant interferences, and who knows what else. And that's the biggest problem. When you fly analog, you can't fully trust the drone, or rather the video it sends you. I actually love 5-inch drones. Going back to 2019, that's where I started. They're probably the most fun drones out there. But I said goodbye to analog in 2020 or 2021, and I thought I never came back. But I bought analog goggles again because of this. The better FPV tiny whoop. If you can fly a 5-inch drone because of weather, distance to allocation, or stupid government regulations, you can always fly this little guy in your backyard or maybe gym, like in my case. And this is actually where I'm going with all this, taking into account cons of analog system, especially image quality. We should also look at the advantages and who they actually make sense for.
Let's take a situation where you're just starting your FPV journey. You probably already realized that this simulator isn't that exciting. And your first drone, real drone, was a micro drone, a tiny whoop. And most of them, I mean the decent ones, are analog, like the Air65, Mobula or stuff like that. And you probably already invested in analog goggles, which, by the way, aren't cheaper than digital. Again, I'm talking about good ones like Skyzone or Fat Shark. And then comes a moment when you already flown your small drone enough and want to try something bigger. Something like 5-inch. Of course, you could invest in digital goggles next, or you could simply build an analog drone. It's cheaper, and that's another point in favor of analog. And speaking of cheapest, if you are a beginner or if you are constantly pushing your skills instead of just flying straight lines and talking about how cool FPV is, repairs are cheaper. And this system is more reliable.
I'm not even sure if it's worth mentioning that if you are very advanced FPV pilot with serious skills, analog has lower latency, but that's a completely different conversation. So, am I going to switch back to analog? No. Is this my favorite drone? No, but can it make sense for some people and does it have right to exist? Obviously yes.